Social Development Minister Lindiwe Zulu and the Communications and Digital Technologies Minister Mondli Kungubele will hold a briefing to clarify reasons for the non-payment of social grants. Last week, beneficiaries, including pensioners, could not access their grants due to technical problems experienced by Postbank's new payment system. Now, the bank says the glitches have been resolved. However, some recipients are yet to get their monies. Let's speak now to Research Associate at the Southern Center for Inequality Studies at Wits University, that's Lisa Vetten, and alongside her is Deputy Director for Disability Rights at the Human Rights Watch, that's Dr. Elizabeth Kamundia. To both of you, ladies, thank you very much for your time. Lisa, can I quickly begin with you as someone who has been familiar, I think, with this space, particularly here when it comes to the grant system in the country. An entire board at Postbank has quit, citing interference from the minister, including disrespect. It's just some of the words contained in that letter. Do you think that that could be attributed to the glitches that have been experienced at executive level?
That you would have to wait to find out more about. But I mean, I think it is extremely serious. These kinds of glitches have enormous consequences for people's well-being, especially at this point in time when everything is so very, very expensive. So these kinds of glitches, you know, they might be very comfortable and of immaterial to people who have means and support and jobs. But I think for older persons who have been hardest hit by these problems, it's extremely serious. Not least because their pensions not only support themselves, but they're often supporting an entire household of unemployed people. So these glitches create hardships at a range of different levels, so it's really very inappropriate for people to be fighting at senior level over we don't know what, when it has these kinds of consequences. And they really need to be sorted out as a matter of priority.
Dr. Kamundia, we have heard the complaints from social grant recipients suggesting that they are not being respected by the government. Talk to us about their dignity. Is their dignity impaired here?
Absolutely. Their dignity is impaired. I think sometimes we forget when we are talking about these sorts of grants, we are talking about people's livelihoods, we are talking about access to food, we are talking about access to care and support. And so once they don't receive these grants, their dignity is what is at risk indeed.
Lisa, talk to us about what it is about this grant payment system that seems to be a challenge. Not a year goes by without any glitches. Postbank has come on board to say we will be the distributor of these social grants. Previously, I think there was another player. What seems to be the problem here?
Cash pay master.
Yeah.
I only wish I knew, because then I think I would try and go and help government to sort it out. Because it does seem to be a widespread problem. It's not just, I think, within SASSA and before that cash pay master services, but you also have to look at the mess of students' NSFAS payments. Quite clearly, technology is supposed to be making things easier, but it's not. And so you don't know whether this is because speaking generally, inappropriate companies have been appointed who lack the necessary skills and abilities, or whether there are other difficulties that are going on. And I mean, I think these appear technical problems, but they have human consequences. I think for grants to not be paid at this point in time, in a context where you've had Treasury warning government that we are running out of money, they're not sure that they can continue to support these social relief of distress grants, must be pushing the anxiety levels of poor people to record higher levels. So it's really important that these glitches do get sorted out, and I think people be given some kind of reassurance that they are going to be paid and that they're going to be able to support themselves and others. Yeah. I think it does call for a much broader inquiry into what is going on with these various payment systems.
Dr. Kamundia, if we agree that the dignity of the grant recipients has been impaired, how do people who have no money to put up a fight against government, how do those people assert their rights?
Well, let's begin from the fact that this is a constitutional right? So we are not talking about a favor or a matter of charity. We are talking about something that older people are entitled to. Agreed that they are in a situation of difficulty, but there are institutions that exist in South Africa. There's a Human Rights Commission. There are non-profit organizations that are there to advocate for rights, and older people themselves are speaking up. Older people themselves are asking for their rights. So I think that this is important, is the fact that older people themselves have the right, have the knowledge, and some of their organizations are at the forefront of advocating for changes in this area.
Lisa Vetten, let's get final thoughts from you. The two ministers responsible here, Social Development and the Minister of Communications, under whose control is Postbank, is Mondli Kungubele. They're going to be briefing in a short while. I think at the time slated is either 1 or 12. What should they be saying to the public?
They should be reassuring the public that this matter is going to be sorted out by the end of the day. I think they need to make sure that they can act on that, because this causes enormous hardship. It's also hardship with a seriously gendered dimension. Most older persons in this country are women, 60%. So it's imposing hardship in a particularly gendered way. And one also has to take into account that many of those households headed by older women have children in them. They're caring for grandchildren and others. So it's important that the minister give clear reassurance and direction as to the urgency with which they're tackling this matter, and make plans to ensure that people are paid by today at the very latest.
Lisa Vetten, let me thank you very much for your time, a research associate at the Center for Inequality Studies at Wits University, alongside Dr. Elizabeth Kamundia. She is a Deputy Director at Disability Rights within the Human Rights Watch fold. Thanks indeed for your time.